Hi, I want to just flag up this idea to you that you might find interesting, and that is that you have more control over the kind of world you live in than you might think you do. Now, obviously politicians and business people and multinationals, they're in charge of a lot of aspects of the process, but we can't affect them. I mean, I think last weekend 700,000 people marched about Brexit, but it won't have much effect in principle because they're not the ones holding the power. The politicians really are the ones holding the power right now. They only relinquish that power at the times of a general election. So what I'm suggesting is that you have more control over your reality. Now, your reality is the reality you live. Now, I know you might say, well, I live the same reality as everybody else. And to a degree that's true in the sense that external reality, the reality that's outside of my window, the reality of my office remains more or less the same for everybody else. But what these things mean is unique and individual to you. So your external reality, which is my chair, that's external reality, right? My internal reality is different. So we share more or less the external reality, more or less. Each individual's internal reality is different. So, example would be, I might say this is quite a comfy chair and I use it as my office chair in my office here in Reading. Someone else might say, that's the chair that horrible therapist always sits in and makes me feel bad about myself. Obviously no one would say that, but so the association with the chair can be different. So everybody's internal reality is unique. Now, if you don't choose your internal reality, if you don't take a hand in shaping it, if you don't exert any control over it, then your internal reality is a matter of chance. It's a matter of just the aggregation, it's just the accumulation of experiences that you've had. And you know what? A lot of people would say that's what my internal reality is because they don't know any different. Everybody, well, actually, when I think about it, almost everybody, their internal reality is simply the accumulation of experiences. Many of which, of course, never happened, but just like imaginations, beliefs, etc. And there's no element of choice over it. That's what it is, right? That's just what it is. I'm just depressed. That's what it is. I'm anxious. That's what it is. Well, okay, that's where we're at, but it doesn't have to stay that way. If you don't apply some control over your internal world will give you what it's always given you. And if that's not what you want, well, then you have to do something. Well, you don't have to do something about it, but you can do something about it. So I'm going to suggest to you that your internal world is much more flexible and open to grabs, right? It's up for modification if you put some effort into it. How do you put effort into it? Well, I call it cracking the code, right? You have to understand how your internal world works. Once you understand it, you can then adjust it. That's what I do in therapy every single day of the week. I have people come here, we adjust their internal world. It works really quite well, and that's what we do. So, if you want to adjust your internal world, but you want to do it perhaps remotely, or you want to do a lot more work on your own, then obviously the Dr. Purvis Mastermind is the place for you to do some work. It's a mastermind group that I'm going to be running, and one of the big things that we're going to do, and we're going to have monthly calls, and one of the big things that we're going to do is we're going to structure your internal world so that it gives you more of what you want. Now, what could be more interesting, valuable, exciting than that, right? You can have much more of an internal world that you want. It's there for grabs, right? It's there for you to take. Okay, so join my mastermind and I'll show you how to craft the experiences you want. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen. Join the mastermind and you can crack the code.